This is Rabbi Abraham Cooper, the Associate Dean of the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles, and we're talking with our Director for International Relations, Dr. Shimon Samuels, part of whose main responsibilities is to cover developments in Europe. Uh, this is an incredible time of change and challenge in Europe. We want to just deal briefly with three subjects. First of all, could you give us a quick synopsis on the election results in the city of London that's about to host the entire world with the Olympics of 2012? Who are the candidates? Who won? And why should anybody in the Jewish world care?
Well, the incumbent mayor, Boris Johnson, is a bit of a comic. He's well liked. He's a conservative. The main opposition against him was someone we've known for a long time, nicknamed Red Ken, Ken Livingstone, who, since losing last time, he's been an anchorman for Iranian press television, where he said the most outrageous things, mainly about Jews. He is a man with a message, and the message is that the conspiracy theory of the protocols of the elders of Zion is correct. When he was mayor, he welcomed Sheikh Qaradawi, the Islamist imam of Al Jazeera television, who continually makes threats against the West. He's a man who ruined his own career and is up on a tax investigation anyway. But I think that his close relationship with the Iranians was enough to repel the voters. Though those on the extreme left are extremely disappointed. And in fact, there was a very warm and sympathetic article in the Guardian newspaper, a left-wing major, very important newspaper, in his favor.
Well, let's move over to the national vote that just took place in Greece, where it appears that none of the main parties have any chance of creating a coalition. What is happening there, and what is the Jewish focus? What is the concern of the Jewish community there, and where does world Jewry, are we well placed to be of assistance in any way?
I think that this has to be seen as a paradigm for the domino economic disaster which is taking place across Western Europe. The so-called austerity as opposed to growth theories, I think, have been really debunked by most major economists. Growth is, in fact, the only possible way to get to growth is by making very serious cuts in the economy, which is going to be very painful for quite a while for those people who have lived with profligacy over the years. Now, in a country like Greece, where people would go out to a pension at the age of 53, and there was very little tax collecting, there is now a great deal of bitterness, particularly among the working classes, in regard to A, the corruption of the banking capitalist classes, and also B, against the immigrants. Now, the immigrants in Greece tend to come either from the Middle East or Albania. The shocking thing is that 800,000 voters reverted to a neo-Nazi party. Not even the less Nazi, but still extreme party of LAOS, the Laos, that was in the last cabinet, that in fact sued the Wiesenthal Center for defamation some time ago, got nowhere with it. But that 800,000 voters, or 7.5% of the electorate, voted for Golden Dawn, Chrissy Avki, is quite shocking. I was present in 2006 at the World Economic Forum, the World Social Forum, or its European satellite, the European Social Forum, which is the anti-globalization, anti-Zionist, extreme left body. And there I ran into some Golden Dawn stormtroopers distributing their journal. And I think that the journal was quite telling. On the front page, I have a copy. is there were two photos. The first is of Molotov and Ribbentrop shaking hands at the famous pact of 1939 between the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. And below is a photo of Hitler receiving Haj Amin al-Husseini, the Mufti of Jerusalem. And then the bottom line caption says that this proves that the right, the left, and the Muslim must stand in solidarity against international Jewry. So
are Jews in the Greek community, are they concerned for their physical safety?
So far, thank God, nothing has happened beyond a whole series of attacks on cemeteries and Holocaust memorials. That doesn't mean to say that it can't happen. There have been threats, and in fact, there is a man who published a 700-page book on how the Jews control everything. He was charged with group defamation. He was, in fact, exonerated, and in the appeal, in fact, the Jewish community was countercharged with defaming him. So it's a political pantomime. There doesn't seem to be any hope for a government coming out of this one unless the New Democracy Conservative Party goes as far as taking in these extremists, including the neo-Nazis, which would be quite unthinkable, but it could happen. So, yes, the Jews are at risk, but the Jews are at risk also in a country, in Greece there's 4,000 Jews, but in France there's 700,000, and they're even more.
Let's talk about France. We could probably go on for a long time. We really have just two questions. The first question is, with the new administration coming in, will the Jewish community of France domestically enjoy the same level of cooperation and protection from the police and the Ministry of Interior that they did under the Sarkozy government?
I'd like to make 2 points. First of all, I've been in France 32 years, and I remember in 1981 when Giscard d'Estaing was overthrown by Mitterrand, a socialist. Just before the election, there was a major event called 24 Hours for Israel. 43,000 French Jews turned out. They all signed a ballot whether they approved or disapproved of Giscard's Middle East policy. And then came in François Mitterrand, the socialist, who was received with adulation, tumultuous applause. When he came to power, the first thing he did was he went to the cemetery to the grave of his Jewish best friend. He marched ahead, he led 250,000 protesters after the disinterment of a body in a Jewish graveyard. He started his mandate extremely well. So I don't think we should prejudge Hollande. I think we have to give him a chance. I've just congratulated him on his election. The second point I'd like to make is, why was there no such Jewish adulation for Hollande as happened 31 years ago for Mitterrand? And the major change is that over these years, there is a new generation of the French electorate, mostly of North African origin, who have made an alliance ideologically with the extreme left. And that will still be heightened in terms of the special rights for the Islamic community and the Palestine cause. That does not read well. So the question is, how can that be resolved? I don't believe that in the beginning there will be the same type of attention to Jewish concerns as was at the latter days of the Sarkozy presidency. However, I think that Hollande, who has made some good noises about his relations, his respect for Jews, his contempt for anti-Semitism, his respect for Israel, I think that he is going to have to restrain those extremists on the left, the communists, the Greens, the Trotskyites, the anarchists, who received 5 million votes in the first round. And his appointment of portfolios, particularly the Interior Ministry, is going to be extremely telling as to what that policy is going to be. And I'd just like to say that according to indications we're getting from security sources, The threat to Jews in France is heightened, and certainly in the interim, until that government has got itself in position and appointed the Minister of the Interior, we will expect, unfortunately, some growing incidents.
Thank you, Shimon. Dr. Samuel, stay safe in Paris. Bye-bye.
Thank you.